everyone, Miss GoElectric here. I have reviewed and built dozens of e-bikes, and I have a collection of over 50 of them now. And because of that, I always get questions from friends, family, and viewers about what e-bike they should buy. And unfortunately, I wish it was a really quick answer, but there are a lot of things to consider. I know that if you buy the right e-bike for you, then it is life-changing because you're gonna be riding it all the time. But if you buy the wrong one, it's probably just gonna sit in your garage and collect dust. Now, I know this because I've had tons of people comment on my e-bike reviews. Not only that, but also from the hundreds of people that I've met on the group e-bike rides that I've hosted across the country. After doing this for a couple of years, I'm finally ready to make a video series to help make it easy to understand why an e-bike, what's available, how to pick the right one for you, and how to get the most out of it. This is the start of the Miss GoElectric Complete Guide to E-Bikes. First, I want to talk about the different styles of e-bikes. Just like with the automobile, there are a variety of different shapes and sizes, but there are only a couple that are the most common because they fit most people's lifestyle. This is what you might hear referred to as the commuter or touring e-bike. Now, there are a ton of different brands and models to choose from because this is the most popular category of e-bike. This is the frame style that I recommend most to friends and family, and here's why. This bike that I have here is what they call a step-through design. There's no secondary top tube that will require me to stick my leg all the way up and over in order to get onto the bike. Now, even if you are flexible and young, it's something to consider because if you get an injury or say someone else wants to ride your bike and they might have a hard time getting on, or even if you need to jump off of the bike really quick, it's important to be able to have that easy access on and off of the bike. Another characteristic of this category is that they're really comfortable. They have a wider saddle, a more upright riding position. They also tend to have fenders, so it'll keep you from getting all that mud up your back. And most people, they want to just leisurely cruise, so if you're not comfortable, then you're probably not going to ride it as often. Another reason why I like bikes in this category is because they tend to be generally capable. They usually have tires that are anywhere between 2 inches to maybe 3 inches wide, which means they'll be efficient when you're riding on the road, but you can also take them on light trails. Bikes like this also tend to have a front suspension, and I look for ones that have anywhere between 50 and 100 millimeters of travel, and that's because it's going to absorb all that vibration going through your hands and your body and make it a really smooth ride. Lastly, for capability, bikes like this tend to offer front baskets, or sometimes they even come with rear racks. And that just allows you to have more versatility. You could go to the grocery store, pick up some items, or even take some items down to the beach or to a picnic and really get more use out of your bike. Those are the reasons why this is the most popular category, but there are tons more to choose from that might fit your lifestyle. So let's go look at those. Next up, we have one that is more of a fitness style bike or an electric road bike. Take a look at this frame. It is very lightweight. I can lift it up really easy to get it up onto a bike rack in comparison to some of the commuter bikes. It has very narrow tires, which is great for efficiency when you're riding on the road, but it's not gonna be that comfortable when you are riding on a trail because of those thin tires, but also because of the rigid front fork. These are made for efficiency, not comfort. And you'll notice that immediately in the saddle. They tend to be very narrow, thin, and kind of rock hard. You'll also notice that the seat is up a little bit more and the handlebars are below that and they're straight, which means that your riding position is more hunching forward, which is aerodynamic, but it's not going to be as comfortable. This is a bike for athletes. Now let's move on to the next category, which is the folding e-bike. It will fold in half in the frame and those handlebars come down so that you can make it really compact and put it in the back of your car. Now there are some benefits to that. First is weather. If you have your bike on the back of your car, it's exposed to the elements, so rain, sleet, snow, and if you're traveling at high speeds like 80 miles per hour on the highway, that means it's high pressure and it could damage the electronics. It'll also probably get dirty, so keeping that in the back of your car can avoid all that. Next is security. When you have your bike on a vehicle rack, it's out there for everyone to see. And even if you have a cable that is locking it up, it's not that difficult to steal. But when your bike is inside your car, it's not only less visible, but it is harder to steal. Next is efficiency. When you have a bike on a rack outside of your car, it disturbs the aerodynamic profile, which means that it's going to take you more energy to go the same distance. That's the same whether you drive a gas car or an electric car, but I've really appreciated the extra range when I've been traveling with this bike in my EV. All right, on to the next category. This one is really popular, especially with the younger people. This is the Moped Style e-bike. So why do they like them? Well, look at it. The style is so cool and it really feels like you're riding around a little motorcycle. Before I got any e-bikes, I had a scooter, like a moped that's similar to a Vespa, and I really loved that because I could ride along with traffic, go about 35 miles per hour. I didn't need to get any specific license. The problem was I still needed to get oil changes, fill it up with gas. I needed to register it every year and have insurance for it. And the thing about moped style bikes like this is you're not restricted on where you can go. And what I mean by that is that I could take this anywhere a bicycle can go. And I could keep up with traffic on the street just like my moped. But look at this suspension. The front fork is huge. It also has a rear suspension, which makes it even more comfortable than my previous scooter. So you can see why these are growing in popularity, but there are some drawbacks. The seat height is in a fixed position, which means that it might not be comfortable for all body types. Next is that the saddle is pretty wide, so it creates some rubbing when you're pedaling for a long time, which is why a lot of people will just use the throttle when riding these bikes. Lastly, these bikes tend to be heavier, around 100 pounds, which makes them harder to maneuver, but also harder to transport and get them up on a bike rack. Now that brings me to the next style, which is the cargo bike. This is probably the fastest growing segment right now. So who are these for? Well, obviously delivery drivers, they can take food in packages and travel around a city much more efficiently and a lot faster in an e-bike like this than in a car. But the bigger audience is parents, and that's because you can equip these cargo bikes in a lot of different ways. You'll see I have a front basket on here. There's also quite a few things that you could do in the back here. I have seats that can accommodate a couple small children or a full-sized adult. But you can even get child seats, or for smaller kids, a cage that wraps around here to keep them secure. You can also get a basket back here, so if you want to put a cooler, take it down to the beach, just bring a lot more with you. This is really like the SUVs of e-bikes. Just like SUVs, they are bigger and heavier, which means that they're harder to maneuver, harder to transport, harder to find a place to store them, and they also tend to be more expensive. All right, now that we've taken a look at all these different styles of e-bikes, I want to give you all the information that you need for the e-bike buying experience.
In this video, I've shown you e-bikes in the commuter, road, folding, moped, and cargo categories. Throughout the other episodes in this series, I'll help you to understand how to find the right bike in each of these categories and a few other categories too. I'll offer information about the features you should expect at each price point, so you'll be more likely to end up with the right bike for you. You'll find links to other episodes in this series within this video's description and on my website at MissGoElectric.com. I post deals and discount codes for all the e-bikes that appear in the GoElectric buying guide on the website too, along with dozens of in-depth reviews, merchandise, upcoming GoElectric group ride events, and a whole lot more. Later in this series, I'll cover the pros and cons of direct and retail e-bike buying experiences, e-bike maintenance, safe use and storage, understanding where you can ride, and more. Be sure to subscribe to this e-bike specific channel, Miss GoElectric Ride Reviews, to be notified as I publish those episodes, detailed e-bike reviews, and a ton of other useful e-mobility content. Until next time, drive, fly, ride. Go Electric.